Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Skåne here in southern Sweden, and we're going to go to Helsingborg, and this will be my fourth review from Brewski, and this was a beer that was just released yesterday actually. I'm filming this review for you on the 7th of May, and we're going to have a look at the Pango IPA from Brewski here. And this one's supposed to be really good. This is a slightly newer version. They've changed the recipe a little bit of their original Pango IPA. They say there's a little bit less buzz in this one, but it should be very nice, and it comes in at 5.9%. And these kind of, I think there's Passion Fever, Mango Fever, and I think this is the third that they've brought out in this series. Brewski are very well regarded for this kind of series of beers that they add fruit to, and you'll notice that if you try a few of their beers, there is a bit of a signature. They've got a little bit of a kind of bready, kind of tangy, fruity flavour to them, and then usually they've got a nice kind of bready and slightly yeasty malt base. So I'm very interested to see how this one turns out. But these beers are very highly rated, and as I say, Brewski are one of the most highly rated craft breweries here in Sweden, so make sure you check them out if you haven't already. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Brewski. As I said, this is the fourth one I've done from these guys. There's all the usual social media, make sure you check that out, and if you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. We will return to Brewski in the very near future, I'm sure, and as always, to those of you watching in Sweden, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see reviewed. So anyway, just to tell you a little bit about Brewski. So Brewski are very new. They were founded in 2014 in Helsingborg, and the founders of the company are Marcus Hjalmarsson and Johan Britsen, Alfred Olsen, and also Robin Skoglund as well. And all of these guys were largely inspired by the American West Coast craft beers. Marcus was originally associated with the High Nose brand of beer, which was brewed at Brewski, and some of these beers are actually still brewed there, although all of the Brewski beers are now brewed at their site in Helsingborg, which apparently has a capacity of 340,000 litres annually. And they also had a partnership for a while, a very strong partnership with All In Brewing, who used to brew a lot of their beers in Helsingborg, but now they brew most of their beers at West Coast Brewery. Both of them actually, All In and West Coast Brewery, they both produce some really awesome beers as well. And I guess in Sweden we are spoiled a little bit, especially in Skåne. There's some really good breweries here in Skåne, and up in Stockholm and Gothenburg area you have the same thing too. There's some very good craft beer here from Sweden, and Brewski are one of the very highly regarded breweries. So these guys have got quite a range of beer. If you go on to the, they don't have a website as such if I remember, but if you go and check out the Facebook page, you can keep up to with the latest goings on of the brewery, and on the Untappd page you can also see all the different beers that they produce. But they do have a bit of a core range. I think it's about 5 or 6 different beers, and the Fever series are ones that are fairly regular. Mango Fever, Passion Fever, and the Pango Fever as well, but they might be rebranding these. As I say, this one's called Pango IPA, which is, I'm not sure if it's a replacement, but it seems to be a slightly newer version of the Pango Fever IPA. And this one is the first batch as well, best before the 5th of April 2017. So yeah, let me just bring up the camera and we can have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open up. You can see each of the different ones that I was talking about, by the way, Mango Fever and Passion Fever. I don't know if there's a Pineapple Fever as well, if there was one like that, or if they added pineapple to the other two. But these fruits, the kind of styles that you can see the fruits drawn in, that's how the other labels turn out. There you can see the little guy, the Brewski symbol there, Pango IPA. It tells you on the back here, Brewski loves Pango Fever, but the Fever is scored out. Enjoy the same taste and fine-tuned recipe with a little less buzz than from our original Pango Fever IPA. Pango is a mix of passion fruit, pineapple and mango merged into a fresh and easy IPA. The fruit and hop combination is lifting this beer into fresh fruity flavours we strive to accomplish. Drink this beer as it is accompanied to your favourite barbecue dish. So yeah, should be quite nice, this one. Let's get it out and on with the tasting there. And there you can see the standard Brewski bottle cap on this guy. I'm looking forward to this one. A lot of people have told me that I need to try these Fever beers from Brewski, but I've not managed to get round to it yet. And just on opening that, you can smell the fruity, juicy character. You know, for me it's the passion fruit and the pineapple that's coming out first and foremost. But it smells nice. You can smell the nice fruity, juicy characters of this beer actually. So yeah, as you can see, a nice bright yellow colour, this one. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful looking beer. There's a solid finger, just over a finger, of a frothy white head on this one. And you can see the beer is quite opaque. There's no real transparency to that other than kind of intensity, I guess you would say. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass. One or two little bits of sediment, which is usually what happens with Brewski beers. And there's quite a few little bubbles just going up towards the bottom of the head too. But I think it's fair to say that is a bright golden yellow colour, that one. That looks really, really nice. Yeah, so let's have a look at the aroma of this one and see how we get on. Oh yeah, that's nice. You can smell the juicy, fruity character is really apparent in this one, and that's exactly what you would expect. Yeah, when you sugar it up a little bit more, you start to get the grapefruit coming out, I would say. But you can get the passion fruit and the pineapple out of this right away. They're quite distinctive, but I always found that passion fruit and pineapple, when you add fruit to a beer rather than trying to get these flavours out of the hops, for example, out of the hop oils, you always can smell that the beer, it comes across as a little bit more juicy, and that also comes across in the flavour because you get the fruit flavours around the front edge of your tongue rather than just behind the front. That's one of the key differences when you add fruit to a beer rather than trying to get those flavours and make them more pronounced using your hop ratios and things. But you can really smell that in this one. I want to say there's maybe a little bit of resinous character, not too much, maybe more of a floral aromaticity coming out of this beer too. There's obviously a good bit of hop in this as well. But yeah, you can smell a little bit the malt base too. The malt base is quite bready, maybe a little bit biscuity as well. There is a little bit of an almost caramelly sweetness in there, but that comes out when you're sugaring the beer up. The focus of the aroma here is more on the hops and obviously the kind of juicy fruits that are coming out too. But there's definitely a bit of floral aromaticity in there, maybe a touch of resins like I was saying, and a lot of the juicy fruit characters in there. I'm not really picking up much of a citrusy, there maybe is a little bit of a citrusy character, but not too much. The focus is more on the tropical fruits rather than the citrusy fruits. But yeah, the pineapple and the passion fruit for me are the ones that are standing out. The grapefruit comes out a little bit, the kind of darker aroma and slightly more sour aroma, I would always say, of the grapefruit comes out when you sugar this beer up. But you should always take a little look at the aromas from Brewski because their beers are very good and they're very high in flavour, and the aromas are usually pretty damn good as well. Pardon me, but let's get stuck into this beer now. This is the Pango IPA, a new version of the Pango Fever IPA that they've done from Brewski in Helsingborg, Skåne, southern Sweden. Skål. That's nice. I wouldn't have expected anything less from Brewski, of course. Fourth beer I'm trying from these guys. Yeah, this beer's got a really nice wet mouth feel. The thing that's good about this one is it's full of flavour and it's a nice thirst quencher as well, and that's probably the juicy character of the fruits that's contributing to that for me. Some of these IPAs, like if you are kind of thirsty a little bit, some of the IPAs with the big bitter character and things, for me, I don't find them so refreshing in that way, but this one with the fruit additions and that extra wet mouthfeel does feel to me to be a little bit more refreshing, so thumbs up to them on that one actually. But yeah, that's nice. The thing that I'm a bit surprised about this one is the Pango Fever was rated at 98 on Rate Beer, so you expect something very, very high from that, and Brewski always deliver in that regard. I was expecting this one to be a bit more punchy than it is, and the reason I say that is it's the juicy wet mouthfeel that makes the beer refreshing, and that for me, I like that. That is it's really nice. A lot of the beers you'll find on Rate Beer, the ones that get the very high ratings are the ones that, you know, just blast your tongue with bitterness, but for me, this one's got a good balance between the flavour and being a little bit refreshing as well, and I think you can maybe say it's a refreshing thing to see, of course, but for me, the mouthfeel of this one's perfect and the flavours are really good as well. Yeah, that bitter character is there, but the juiciness balances it very well. So let's dissect the flavour of this beer a bit more. So in the middle of your palate, for me, It's a kind of bready character in there. There's maybe a little bit of a biscuity kind of graininess going on, maybe some yeasty character as well. That blankets the middle of your tongue, and on top of that you start to get a little bit of dryness. You can feel, as you move into the aftertaste, you can feel a little bit of that hoppy dryness just lingering there. But in the earlier part of the flavour, for me, the mouthfeel is a little bit more wet. The grapefruit, I think, becomes a little bit more prominent in the flavour than it is in the aroma. The aroma for me was quite passion fruit and pineapple forward, whereas the grapefruit, I think, starts to play a bigger role in the flavour. But the other two come across as a little bit more juicy, whereas the grapefruit character, I think, is coming from the hops a little bit more. The hoppy character in this beer, if you go just behind the front curve of the tongue, that little oily bubble that I always talk about, for me, it's mainly a grapefruit flavour that's coming out from that, and the juicy passion fruit and pineapple flavours are spreading around the front curve of the tongue a little bit more, I would say. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that. I would stick with that. The grapefruit is coming from the hops a little bit more, and the passion fruit and the pineapple is spreading around the front of the tongue a bit more, which to me indicates that's the ones that those are the flavours that are coming a bit more from the fruit additions to the beer. But underneath that, you can pick up some of the floral aromaticity. At the front corners of the palate, you can pick up a little bit of that floral aromatic, maybe even slightly resinous, dry character from the hops. The balance, as I say, the balance of the flavours in this beer is really nice. I'm not really picking up much hop character in the very back corners of the palate, but you can feel it becoming more floral and aromatic as you come further and further forward on the side of the palate. But yeah, for me, the mouthfeel, the juicy character of this beer is really nice actually. I would highly recommend this one. Very, very good beer. It's got a good balance between the fruity, juicy additions and also the hoppy, bitter character. And the aftertaste, for me, that bready character is just lingering there. The floral aromaticity starts to play a bit more of a role, and it's the grapefruit that's coming out more. I always find that the mango and passion fruit flavours, they're that little bit sweeter, whereas the grapefruit flavour is a little bit darker and a little bit more, almost kind of sour actually. I think that's fair to say in this beer. But yeah, the main point of this one, I've described all the flavours for you. The main point of this is that it is a very, very good beer. This one, the thing I think that's good about this is 5.9%. It's a little bit heavier than some of your session beers, I guess, although you probably could session this based on the mouthfeel. It's very drinkable. That's one of the main things. So in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I think it's fair to say that this is mid-bodied. There's a good bit of, there's a good oily mouthfeel to this one, but it's a little bit more juicy than that. There's some nice hoppy bitterness. The bready character, the malt base is quite smooth, like I say. There's a good bit of hoppy bitterness, but you also have some of the more juicy and fruity characters to this one. But in the aftertaste, it's more, the hoppiness starts to kind of dominate the palate a little bit more. And you've got some, that you notice in this beer, the kind of juicy, fruity additions, because it's, as I say, it's a bit more juicy around the front curve of the tongue, and later the hoppiness starts to take over the more dry, hoppy, bitter flavours. But overall, this is another very, very good beer from Brewski. I'm glad that I finally got around to trying one of these kind of fruit series beers they do, the Fever series. But as I say, I'm not sure whether the Pango IPA is a replacement for Pango Fever or whether it's just a different version of it. But the main point is that it's another really good beer. So if you haven't tried this one already, give it a go. It is very new. If you can get a hold of the Fever series, I would recommend that you do that. But this is a very, very nice beer. There's no two doubts about that. And on the basis of my experience at Brewski, I wouldn't expect anything less. So yeah, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Do let me know your favourite beers from Brewski as well. They do produce some really quite awesome stuff. These kind of IPAs, saisons and things like that, these guys like to do the slightly more bready and kind of hoppy beers. That seems to be their trademark, and they do it very well in my opinion. So make sure you try some Brewski beers. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media, but most importantly, if you haven't already, go and try some Brewski beers and also some Swedish craft beers. There's some really good stuff now. But until the next time, I'll catch you soon, and we will be doing more Brewski beers in the fairly near future, I'm sure. Skål!